This video is for parents who are balancing work, multiple children's schedules, different needs, and competing demands. When you're there, but the thought of, am I doing enough, gets even louder. You're not alone. As a parent myself, and as someone who has worked with many parents who show up every single day, I can see the same guilt come up again and again. Today, I want to share 2 mindset shifts that help busy parents with that guilt and reconnect with what actually helps children feel safe and seen. I hear this over and over again in my work. Parents sit across from me and describe days filled with drop-offs, pickups, meals, homework. Then they say, I'm with my child all day, but I still feel disconnected. Their body is with their child, but their nervous system is stretched across so many different demands. The work emails, the schedules, the mental list, the pressure to keep everything moving, and by the end of the day, exhaustion sets in. And then comes the guilt, right? They tell me I'm exhausted, and then they tell me that they feel guilty for being exhausted. Sound familiar? But underneath that guilt is a much deeper fear. The fear of, what if my child feels that this distance means that I don't care? Or what if they grow up remembering me as distracted, or worse, not present? And I just want to pause right here really quickly to acknowledge something important, because for many parents, this pace is not optional. Work needs to be done. Bills need to be paid. Meals need to be made. So this is not a matter of choosing between presence and responsibility. The issue is not that life is full. The issue is how easily fullness gets interpreted as emotional absence. Being busy does not mean being unavailable, and being tired does not mean you're disconnected. Providing for your family is an act of care. Showing up day after day is an act of care. Connection is not erased by responsibility. It is shaped by how safety and reassurance are expressed in the ordinary moments. And this gets even harder because of what we constantly see around us. So much of what we are shown on social media about connection looks effortless. It's relaxed mornings, smiling children, homes that look spotless and perfect, right? And moments that appear to happen without schedule strain or stress. And when that becomes the picture of what connection is, it's supposed to look like that, it's so easy to feel like, am I missing something, or am I doing something wrong? It becomes so easy to fall into that comparison mindset. And that's where parents get stuck. But this is not reality. Real life includes tantrums, meltdowns, and tears. It includes messy kitchens. As a matter of fact, some of my favorite memories are baking with my kids. Cakes and cookies are made from scratch in our kitchen, pizza night, cinnamon rolls. There's flour on the counter and maybe some on the floor, right? There's dishes, dirty dishes in the sink. You could call that messy. But in those memories, no one cares. Raised voices, chaotic mornings, moments that feel scattered, these are moments that are just as important as the happy moments. They're not signs that something is wrong. They're part of being in relationship. It's part of the relationship journey. A family life is not meant to be emotionally polished. It's meant to be emotionally honest. How we stay with our children through the full range of different feelings and emotions, not by how we avoid them. When life gets busy and emotions run high, parents often assume connection requires more time, more energy, or more availability than they have. This leads me to the first mind shift. Number 1, presence is about how time feels, not just how much time there is. Time with your child matters, and this is the shift that changes everything. Shared time is important, and if you do have the time to spend with your child, that's wonderful. That is important. This video is for those who are time constrained. Most parents would love more time, and many are already doing the best that they can with what they have. Presence is shaped by how your child experiences you during the time that you do have. A few minutes of emotional availability can can feel more connecting than hours spent distracted or rushed. And I want you to remember that children are not measuring how long you are with them. They're sensing how safe it is to come to you. When a parent is answering questions, but in the back of their mind, they're still thinking about what's happening at work or what they need to do after this conversation, an entire day managing their child's needs can really feel like you weren't even there at all. Because even though your body is present, your attention is elsewhere. When a nervous system is carrying too much all at once, even loving presence can feel distant. But connection can be restored through simple everyday interactions. A child feels connected when they sense that they can come to you, right? That they won't feel dismissed when they do ask for help. And when they can feel like, they're not being too much. And again, that feeling can be created in very small moments. It can be a pause before responding, a changing of the tone of your voice to a softer one, eye contact that says, I'm here to listen. These are just some moments that do not require more time. They only require emotional access. Because in that brief pause, the interaction changes. Because your attention lands, your child feels when you're emotionally available. And from there, connection grows naturally. Number 2, repair builds security. Another underlying concern that emerges when parents feel they aren't doing enough is that mistakes matter more than effort. When time is short and patience runs thin, a raised voice or missed moments start to feel like proof that we're failing. And I've struggled with this deeply when my kids were younger. There are moments that I'm not proud of, times when I did raise my voice or lost my patience. And what helped me was realizing that it's about what you do when you do have these moments. It's when repair comes in. I do remember a time when I was trying to get them ready for practice, and I've asked them to put their shoes on the first time, and I'm sure a lot of you can resonate with this. And then I asked them the second time, the third time, and by the third time, you lose a little bit of patience. So I'd end up raising my voice, especially during those special times of the month for us women, right? So I would tell them, boys, I'm so sorry I got upset earlier. This is that time of the month when mama's patience takes a few days off. Because, before I had kids, when my cycle shows up, I could just be cranky in peace, I would cancel plans, I would eat ice cream, I would binge Netflix and call it self-care. But now I have children, so repair sounds like, I'm sorry. When I asked you to put your shoes on the first time and the second time and the third time, my voice got louder and that part wasn't about you. That was my own frustration showing up. And I'm responsible for how I handle it, and I'm working on doing better. And that moment matters more than the mistake, because when time is limited, repair becomes one of the most powerful ways parents show up. And it took me some time to really get the hang of it, but now I really catch myself before I do. Repair teaches the child that connection can be restored even after hard moments. But here's the part that people do not expect. Chronic guilt actually pulls parents away from connection. When you're constantly questioning yourself, you're no longer fully present. You are monitoring, you're evaluating and judging yourself instead of being with your child. So when the thought of, am I doing enough or I'm not doing enough comes up for you, try not to argue with it. And instead of spiraling and beating yourself up, I want you to pause and I want you to name one concrete, specific behavior you did that day that reflected care. I call that micro moments. And an example would be, I listened to my child talk about their day today. Or I repaired after I lost my patience. Even though I was tired, I was present. And it doesn't have to be everything you did that day, just one. because that single act is often enough to bring you back in the present moment. If it helps to have structure, you can keep an intentional act inventory in a journal. Use it to gather small ways you want to show up, then add to it over time. And if you need ideas to start, I've created a list of 50 micro-moment ideas you can download on my website. What I did to help me was that I took my journal and I noted an intentional act that I would like to offer to my child that day. Not a big gesture, not an all-day plan. Maybe sometimes it is, but it's a one small, meaningful action. And that shifts my focus from self-criticism to having a choice. Instead of asking, am I doing enough? I ask myself, what is one way I want to show up today? I hope you found this helpful. And if you want support beyond this video, feel free to visit my website to explore other ways, other resources, and ways to work with me. I do have my book, Hello Flutters, helps children understand big feelings with courage and compassion. And you can find that on Amazon. And if you are a new mama, I have Hello Mama Workbook. It's a free resource you can download also on my website to help you stay grounded during the early journey of motherhood. Thank you, and I will be going more in depth with motherhood stress and motherhood guilt on the next video, so make sure that you hit subscribe. Thank you.